Chapter 1052. Then he grabbed the patriarch of the Zhou family with one hand and blasted out with the other, dispersing a lightning tiger condensed from lightning. At this moment, more creatures condensed from lightning pounced at Lu Ming, but they were all defeated by Lu Ming. With a step, Lu Ming returned to the sky above the Zhou family. At this moment, the other members of the Zhou family were still looking at the sky in shock, not knowing what had happened. They didn't understand why someone would transcend the tribulation in the sky above the Zhou family, nor did they understand why the spirit gods had scattered and fled. All of this happened too quickly. Only a few minutes had passed since Lu Ming rushed out of the underground cave and began to transcend the tribulation. No, please let them go, they are innocent. The patriarch of the Zhou family was grabbed by Lu Ming. Even if lightning struck at him, it was still defeated by Lu Ming. At this moment, his heart was filled with despair and extreme regret. He regretted that he was greedy for Lu Ming's treasures, but he didn't expect Lu Ming to be so monstrous that he could still break through and attract the tribulation after being suppressed in the burning god's earthly flames. This was really unbelievable. However, regret was useless. He only hoped that Lu Ming would let the Zhou family go. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's killing intent was unimaginably dense. He only wanted to destroy and kill all the members of the Zhou family to take revenge for the suffering he had suffered in the past year. Kill. There was only indifference in Lu Ming's eyes. In his mind, there were continuous roars. Kill. Lu Ming stepped out and shouted. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared, and a terrifying devouring power erupted and enveloped all the members of the Zhou family. Ah no! Help! Screams rose and fell. The essence, qi, and spirit of the Zhou family members were devoured and turned into dried corpses. All the essence, true essence, and energy were devoured by the 9 dragons' bloodline, and refined into true essence that surged into the spirit gods. No, no, no. The patriarch of the Zhou family was in a daze as he looked at all of this. Almost all the members of the Zhou family were dead. There were corpses all over Yinggu Mountain. No, there was one more person. Her eyes were glazed over as she lay limp on a mountain peak. It was Zhou Xian. Although Lu Ming was affected by the 3rd bloodline and his murderous intent surged like a tide, he still retained a shred of rationality and deliberately left Zhou Xian behind. He took a step forward and appeared not far away from Zhou Xian. Rumble. At this moment, there were still countless lightning beings pouncing towards Lu Ming, but they were unable to do anything to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's battle power was simply too powerful. He had cultivated 5 different concepts of heaven and earth, as well as the eruption of dragon power. Most terrifyingly, the trace of power that had entered his 3rd bloodline not only caused Lu Ming's killing intent to surge, but his battle power had also become even more terrifying, allowing him to easily block the lightning tribulation. Do you regret it? Lu Ming said coldly. His blood-red eyes stared at Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian looked at the family head of the Zhou family in a daze. She then looked at Lu Ming and said, "That's right. All of this is our fault. Retribution. This is retribution. We brought this upon ourselves. Xian heir, it's all my fault. Lu Shaoqing, I beg you to spare Xian heir. It's all my fault." The Zhou family head screamed. "All of you deserve to die." Lu Ming's eyes were cold and unmoved. With a wave of his hand, he threw the Zhou family head out. A bolt of lightning struck and the Zhou family head turned into ashes. "Father!" Zhou Xian called out. "Zhou Xian, you gave me the purple jade back then. There was a vitality stone in the purple jade that was of great use to me. However, after that I saved your life twice, which is more than enough to offset the fact that you gave me the vitality stone. After that, you guys attacked me and suppressed me. Today I will kill all of you. All of this is what you deserve. Kill yourself." Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He had no intention of letting Zhou Xian go. "Haha, good, then let me follow my father." Zhou Xian smiled bitterly. Her body suddenly moved and rushed toward Lu Ming. Whoosh. The lightning fell and struck Zhou Xian's body. She turned into ashes amidst the lightning. At this point, almost all of the Zhou family were dead. Rumble. The thunder tribulation continued and became stronger. Lu Ming punched continuously and blasted several thunder-shaped creatures. At the same time, the Nine Dragons bloodline was constantly refining the blood essence and genuine qi of the Zhou family, and turning it into his own genuine qi. Lu Ming's spiritual spirit was getting more and more full and solid. At the same time, Lu Ming poured the energy of the blood essence into the third bloodline. However, he found that the third bloodline did not absorb the energy of the blood essence at all. It's not absorbing? What's going on? Lu Ming originally thought that the third bloodline did not have a chakra. Like the Nine Dragons bloodline, it needed the energy of the blood essence to upgrade. Now it seemed that it was not the same thing. The third bloodline seemed to be the same. It did not have a chakra. Since the third bloodline could not absorb the energy, Lu Ming transferred the energy of the blood essence to the second bloodline, and let the prison-suppressing steel absorb the energy. Not enough. The energy is still not enough. Lu Ming took out the storage ring of the Zhou family's patriarch. With a sweep of his mind, a large pile of origin stones appeared. There were more than 1,000,000 of them. The Nine Dragons devoured them and continued to refine them. Boom. Boom. As time passed, the thunder tribulation became stronger and stronger. However, it was still blocked by Lu Ming. After a full 15 minutes, the dark clouds in the sky disappeared along with the thunder and lightning. Lu Ming finally passed the thunder tribulation and became a spiritual god. The thunder tribulation that was difficult for others was not difficult for Lu Ming. After the thunder tribulation, endless spiritual qi in the world gathered toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's aura was rising rapidly. Let's leave this place first. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and he vanished like a graceful swan. A few hours later, a few million kilometers away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. At this moment, his aura had stabilized, and he'd officially stepped into the first level of the spiritual god realm. At this moment, all the bloodlines had been absorbed into Lu Ming's body. His hair had turned black once more, and when he opened his eyes, they had become calm, pure, and devoid of any killing intent. Phew, the third bloodline is so formidable. Lu Ming let out a long sigh of relief. That boundless killing intent was too shocking. Earlier, Lu Ming had almost been controlled by it. It's because I have a strong killing intent towards the Zhou family. Otherwise, I should be able to barely control this force. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Earlier, he already had a strong killing intent towards the Zhou family. Coupled with the fact that he possessed the third bloodline, he'd almost been crushed by his killing intent, and it caused him to practically annihilate the Zhou family. With Lu Ming's original character, he wouldn't have done this. At most, he would annihilate the higher-ups of the Zhou family, and he would let many members of the Zhou family with low cultivations go. However, under the influence of the killing intent that surged like a tide, he only wanted to kill. Only by killing all members of the Zhou family would he be able to vent the hatred in his heart. However, it had already occurred, so Lu Ming didn't regret it. Since the Zhou family had treated him like that and suppressed him for a year, then they had to bear the consequences. What exactly is this third bloodline? A drop of blood? But there's such a vast amount of power inside? Earlier, Lu Ming had only borrowed a trace of that energy, yet his strength had increased greatly. However, his will had almost been crushed by the killing intent. This caused Lu Ming to be shocked in his heart. He had to be careful when using the third bloodline in the future. Chapter 1053. I've gained a lot this time. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. In the divine earth flame, Lu Ming entered an ethereal state. Just like that, a year passed. During this year, he had been comprehending the intent realm and various martial skills. In that state, comprehending various intent realm and martial skills was much faster than usual. Coupled with Lu Ming's current comprehension ability, his progress was naturally terrifying. Unknowingly, his 5 intents had already broken through to the 4th level. So when his third bloodline awakened, and he broke through the ceiling tower that suppressed him, his 5 intents began to improve rapidly and broke through to the 4th level. At the same time, he began to break through to the spiritual god realm. Now Lu Ming could clearly sense that his 5 intents had all reached the peak of the 4th level of the beginner realm. He was only a step away from the 4th level of the initial realm. Moreover, he had also cultivated the 7th step of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Its power was equivalent to the highest level of the inferior divine martial skills. In the next moment, with a thought, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline appeared. There were 6 golden chakras on it. After refining the blood essence of the Zhou clan, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline had also improved to the 6th level of the divine realm. My physical body has also broken through to the 9th level under the tempering of the divine earth flame. Lu Ming smiled. I have to be more careful in the future. I can't easily expose a treasure like the mountain and river diagram to people I don't trust. This incident taught Lu Ming a lesson. One shouldn't expose one's wealth, not to mention a treasure like the mountain and river diagram. It was easy for others to be greedy. This time, if the Zhou clan hadn't wanted to force him to hand over the mountain and river diagram and suppressed him, he would have been dead long ago if they had directly attacked and killed him. If he hadn't just awakened his 3rd bloodline, which was so amazing that it didn't need to erupt with true essence and had terrifying strength, he wouldn't have been able to escape. This time was a fluke, but Lu Ming didn't want to have a next time. Haha, awesome. On the other side, Dandan laughed loudly as lightning flickered all over his body. This guy had absorbed a large amount of lightning tribulation energy and was still digesting it. What a monster. Not even the bloodline of the 9 dragons could devour the power of the tribulation lightning. Lu Ming, I really didn't misjudge you. Dandan flew over and laughed. I didn't expect you to be able to last for a year. Lu Ming said, don't you know who I am? My defense is invincible. That guy tried to refine me for a year, but in the end he couldn't even hurt a single hair on my body. Dandan said proudly, you have hair? Lu Ming said in disdain. Bah, I'm just giving you an example. But your bloodline is really shocking. Even I feel flustered when I look at it. Dandan sized up Lu Ming. Can you identify what bloodline it is? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked. I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know your 2nd bloodline. You're a monster. You actually have 2 bloodlines that I don't know. But your 2nd bloodline looks a little familiar. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Dandan muttered, but in the end, he couldn't remember anything. That's as good as not saying anything, Lu Ming said in disdain. Then he got up and left. It's been a year. I wonder what level the cultivation of those geniuses have reached? Lu Ming looked forward to it and left quickly. Next, Lu Ming went to the barbaric mountains to look for powerful beasts to fight. His main purpose was to test the power of his 3rd bloodline. As expected, every time Lu Ming activated his 3rd bloodline, endless killing intent would surge in. Moreover, Lu Ming could sense the boundless sea of blood from that drop of blood, and could also borrow the power of the sea of blood. However, with Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could only borrow a little bit of it. Moreover, every time he borrowed the power of his 3rd bloodline, he was filled with killing intent, as if he wanted to kill all living things in the world. That kind of killing intent was too shocking. It seemed to be filled with endless resentment. Why is there such a strong killing intent, such a strong resentment? It's said that all bloodlines can be traced. They can be found in the bodies of ancient, primordial, and immemorial creatures, divine weapons, and spirits of heaven and earth. What kind of creature is this drop of blood? Lu Ming was filled with doubts and his imagination ran wild. As he moved forward, he cultivated and explored. Slowly, Lu Ming became more and more familiar with the use of his 3rd bloodline. He could already keep his mind calm and not be affected by the killing intent when it surged in. Eastern Wilderness, 9 Dragons City. In a hall, Di Shun and Dongfeng Yu stood respectfully in front of Martial Emperor Di. On both sides of the hall stood the patriarchs of the 6 ancient families. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Di Shun has successfully broken through to the spiritual god realm. If you see Lu Ming again, you'll definitely be able to kill him easily. The patriarch of the Wang family congratulated with a smile. Yeah, with Di Shun's talent, after entering the spiritual god realm, he'll definitely be able to exert a terrifying power of space. It'll be easy for him to kill Lu Ming. The patriarch of the Jiang family also took the opportunity to flatter. Yeah, Martial Emperor Di nodded and said, Shinner is indeed good. He's invincible in the Eastern Wilderness, but don't underestimate the heroes of the world. The central continent has always been a place where geniuses come out in large numbers. In this era, there are many geniuses who are not weaker than Shen. The 5 young giants are even more powerful. Don't be complacent. Shen'er understands. Shen bowed and said, "Yeah, I've received news that the Jade Wall of the Central Continent World Academy will be open to the public. Heroes from all over the world can go and watch it. You two should go to the Central Continent together. You can also see the heroes of the world and train yourselves." Martial Emperor Di said. Di Shun and Dongfengyu's eyes shone brightly, revealing a look of anticipation. The Central Continent had always been known as the center of the divine wilderness. How prosperous and powerful were its geniuses. They were looking forward to it. The same scene happened in the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Heavenly Monster Valley. In a huge ancient tomb in the Heavenly Corpse sect, Shuejiani and Shizhan stood respectfully in front of the Corpse Emperor. Now that the Jade Wall of the Central Continent World Academy will be open to the public, you two should go to the Central Continent together to try your luck. According to my speculation, the geniuses of the Northern Plains, Western Desert, and Southern Underworld will also go to the Central Continent. The Central Continent will become a gathering place for geniuses. You two should go and train yourselves. The Corpse Emperor said. Yes. Shuejiani and Shizhan bowed and said. In the Heavenly Monster Valley, Ao2 and Feng Xian also stepped onto the teleportation formation to the Central Continent under the Corpse Emperor's orders. Roar! 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 In a desolate mountain range, a black panther with 3 heads roared and pounced toward Lu Ming. A ferocious aura filled the forest. The 3 heads let out 3 roars, scattering the clouds in the sky and causing the mountain range to rumble. Its 3 heads spat out fire, lightning, and ice respectively. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 1054. A drop of blood floated up into appearance above Lu Ming's head, and it was his 3rd bloodline. After that, a trace of a bloody glow surged into Lu Ming's body from his 3rd bloodline. In an instant, a bloody glow suffused Lu Ming's body while his jet black hair turned blood red. Moreover, his eyes were like dazzling red rubies that emanated boundless killing intent. His 3rd bloodline wriggled and transformed into a battle sword that was held in Lu Ming's hand. Swish! The battle sword slashed down, causing space to directly split open while a blood-red sword light that carried jet black tore through the sky and slashed towards the 3 Black Panthers. Pooh! The sword light slashed down, causing the attacks of the 3 Black Panthers to be directly dispersed, and then the sword light continued forward and slashed the 3 Black Panthers into 2. The 3 Black Panthers that were equivalent to the 2nd level of the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm had been killed by a single strike from Lu Ming. After breaking through to the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm, Lu Ming's combat strength had improved greatly. Earlier, he'd merely utilized the strength of his 3rd bloodline. He hadn't utilized dragon energy, concept, and so on and so forth. Of course, it was naturally impossible for Lu Ming to surmount 5 or 6 levels to kill enemies at the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm, like he could at the Spirit Embryo realm, because that wasn't realistic. Existences that were able to surmount the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm were geniuses amongst geniuses, and they were existences that could surmount a few levels to kill enemies at the Spirit Embryo realm. When facing such geniuses, Lu Ming was naturally unable to surmount 5 or 6 levels to kill enemies because that would be too exaggerated. Moreover, the gap between every single level in the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm was extremely huge. Lu Ming wasn't too sure that he could surmount a few levels to kill enemies at the Domain Enlightened Spirit God realm, if he erupted with his full strength. When I utilized the strength of my 3rd bloodline, it actually contains strong slaughter concept. With a command in his heart, his 3rd bloodline entered Lu Ming's body, and then Lu Ming's hair turned black once more while the bloody glow vanished along with his killing intent. He'd returned to normal, but he was slightly shocked in his heart. Slaughter concept was an extremely terrifying concept that was filled with the energy of slaughter, and was extremely terrifying. This concept was one of the most terrifying concepts in the heavens and the earth, and it wasn't inferior to the concept of time and space. This was not a concept that Lu Ming had comprehended himself, but he could borrow it when he used his 3rd bloodline. Although it was not comprehended by Lu Ming himself, It could be used as Lu Ming's killing move. Lu Ming was very satisfied. The blood of the 9 dragons appeared and sucked in the essence, blood, and demonic energy of the 3 Black Panthers. Then he left the place. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged, refining the blood essence of the 3 Black Panthers. Wang. The hell-suppressing steel's bloodline emerged and vibrated continuously. The 6 golden chakras shone brightly, and soon, the 7th golden chakra emerged. The hell-suppressing steel bloodline had also risen to the 7th level of the divine grade. Along the way, Lu Ming had killed many ferocious beasts and refined their blood essences. Now he had accumulated enough to upgrade the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline to level 7 divine grade, on par with the 9 dragons' bloodline. However, Lu Ming's cultivation didn't increase by much. He had only reached the mid-first level of the spirit god realm. After refining the energy of the 3 Black Panthers, the Yuan receiving stone appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming continuously poured his true Yuan into the Yuan receiving stone. When Lu Ming's true Yuan was almost exhausted, the Yuan receiving stone was also full. Sure enough, it's similar to my previous speculation. This Yuan receiving stone can only store my true Yuan at the first level of the spirit god realm. If my cultivation continues to increase, this Yuan receiving stone won't be of much use. After putting away the Yuan receiving stone, Lu Ming took out an origin stone and devoured it to recover. When Lu Ming's true Yuan was fully recovered, he waved his hand and a pile of storage rings appeared in the air. Most of these storage rings came from the Zhou clan, and some of the experts he had killed before. Lu Ming hadn't organized them properly before. Now it was a good time to do so. Lu Ming was already familiar with organizing the storage rings. First, he categorized the items and separated out the valuable items, the rare items that Lu Ming didn't recognize. After spending an entire day, Lu Ming finally finished organizing everything. There's only around 1 million origin stones left. Lu Ming sighed. The Zhou clan's patriarch, ancestor, and a few elders were all existences at the spirit god realm. When added together, there were a few million origin stones. However, Lu Ming had used more than half of them to break through to the spirit god realm. Now only around 1 million remained. If Lu Ming used 1 million origin stones to improve his cultivation now, it probably wouldn't be enough to advance to the 2nd level of the spirit god realm. There were also some other miscellaneous things that wouldn't be worth much origin stones even if they were sold. What's in this chest? It's protected so tightly? Lu Ming noticed a chest in the Zhou clan's patriarch's storage ring. He didn't know what material it was made of, but it was extremely hard and covered in inscription formations. The Zhou clan's patriarch hid it so well that it aroused Lu Ming's interest. Lu Ming observed it carefully. Even though this inscription formation was of a high level, Lu Ming still quickly noticed its flaws and weaknesses. Dandan, break it open. Lu Ming didn't have a spirit flame now, so he could only ask Dandan to do it. It's simple, leave it to me. Dandan scurried over and observed it for a moment before it waved its claws repeatedly, causing numerous inscriptions to enter the chest. The inscriptions on the chest glowed, and after a short while, the inscription formation on the chest trembled and collapsed. Give me a share of the treasures. Dandan shouted loudly while its eyes glowed as it hurriedly opened the chest. After it opened the chest, Dandan's face sank and revealed a disappointed expression. Because the things in the chest were very simple. There were only 2 things, a small jade chest and a book. They weren't the natural treasures Dandan had imagined at all. Without the natural treasures, Dandan instantly lost interest, and it walked to the side with a bored expression to nibble on spirit herbs. Lu Ming was slightly interested, and he picked up the book and started reading it. After a short while, Lu Ming revealed a trace of pleasant surprise. This book recorded a kind of secret skill, the illusory breathing skill. According to the book, cultivating the illusory breathing skill allowed one to change one's aura into another aura at will. This was completely different from the method of concealing one's aura. Concealing one's aura was just concealing one's aura, so that others couldn't easily detect it. However, the illusory breathing skill allowed one to transform one's aura into another aura. This was simply escaping for one's life. The ultimate secret skill of disguise could sometimes save one's life. As long as one changed their aura and appearance, no one would be able to recognize them at all. In the world of martial arts, it was easy to change one's appearance, but not one's aura. Everyone's aura was unique, so this kind of secret skill was very precious. No wonder the Zhou family had kept it so well. If I cultivate the illusory breathing skill, even if I meet an old acquaintance, I don't have to be afraid of being recognized. Lu Ming revealed a trace of a smile and couldn't help but look at the jade chest. Put together with the illusory breathing skill, what was in the jade chest? Lu Ming opened the jade chest with some anticipation. Inside the jade chest was a jade tablet. Lu Ming took a look at it and knew that it was a recording jade tablet. He picked it up and scanned it with his mind. At first, Lu Ming was stunned, and then, his face revealed an expression of disbelief. There's actually such a heaven-defying elixir in this world? Lu Ming was tongue-tied, and he was shocked beyond words. This jade tablet contained a kind of elixir formula, a method to refine a heaven-defying elixir. Chapter 1055. Consuming the Nirvana elixir would allow a martial artist's bloodline to have a chance of Nirvana. After Nirvana, one's bloodline would have a chance to upgrade. However, the upgrade wasn't fixed. It depended on one's potential and luck. Some people could upgrade by 1 level, some by 2, or even more. Heavens! This elixir was too heaven-defying. It was very difficult to upgrade a bloodline after birth. The 9 Dragons' bloodline was unique in the world. Moreover, Xian Yanqing's bloodline was special. With the help of Emperor Liansong, his bloodline had undergone Nirvana and evolved. Along the way, Lu Ming had only seen Xian Yanqing's bloodline undergo Nirvana and upgrade once. He had not seen or heard of any other cases. This Nirvana elixir was so heaven-defying. If this news were to spread, it would probably cause chaos and stir up endless storms. Just think about it. If a martial artist with a 9th-level king bloodline took the Nirvana elixir, even if it was only 1 level, it was very likely that he would be promoted to a divine bloodline and be qualified to break through to the spiritual god realm. If some martial artists with divine bloodlines could upgrade their bloodline by 1 or 2 levels, their talent would undoubtedly be higher, and they would be able to go further in the future. This was especially true for top geniuses who had awakened to the 6th, 7th, or even 8th level of the divine bloodline. If they took the Nirvana elixir, they might even be able to upgrade to the 9th level of the divine bloodline. How tempting and heaven-defying was this? It would be strange if people did not go crazy when they found out. However, according to the records, every martial artist only had 1 chance. After taking the Nirvana elixir once, taking it a second time would have no effect and would develop resistance. However, this would still not reduce the Nirvana elixir's supreme value. Back then, Cold Blood Hall made a big move and said that a treasure had been taken away. Zhou Xian just happened to appear there. Could it be? At this moment, Lu Ming thought of many things. He had met Zhou Xian in the ancient herb garden, but she obviously did not want to act with Lu Ming and wanted to act alone. Later, Cold Blood Hall seemed to be looking for a treasure in the ancient herb garden, but it was taken away. This caused Cold Blood Hall to make a big move, seal the teleportation formation, and even besiege them on the plains to force them to hand over their storage rings. There Lu Ming met Zhou Xian and rescued her. Logically speaking, Zhou Xian's cultivation was not high. In such a situation, it was very likely that she would hand over her storage ring to save her life. However, Zhou Xian did not. She did not have the slightest intention of handing over her storage ring. At that time, Lu Ming didn't think much about it, but now that he saw the Nirvana pill's pill formula, Lu Ming couldn't help but connect all these together. Perhaps Zhou Xian had obtained the formula from the ancient herb garden, and the reason why Cold Blood Hall had mobilized so many people was most likely because they were looking for the formula. Unexpectedly, in the end, it still fell into the hands of Lu Ming. Although this pill formula was not very useful to Lu Ming, because Lu Ming had the 9 Dragons bloodline, he did not need the Nirvana pill to improve his bloodline. However, Lu Ming was still very excited. Although it wasn't of much use to him, he had family and friends. This kind of pill formula would be very useful to his family and friends. However, the elixirs needed to refine the Nirvana pill are too rare. Lu Ming sighed again. Although the Nirvana pill was heaven-defying, The materials and elixirs needed were extremely precious and rare. A total of dozens of elixirs and materials were needed. Most of the supplementary materials were of the highest grade at LV8, and 7 of the main materials were of LV9. Moreover, they were of the highest grade at LV9. This made Lu Ming speechless. It was extremely difficult to collect these materials. Forget it, I'm not in a hurry. Take it slow. Lu Ming smiled. He memorized the Nirvana Pills formula, and then put it into the mountain river diagram. Then he opened the book of illusory breath and began to read. Next, Lu Ming practiced the illusory breath as he moved forward. Time passed day by day. It had been a month since Lu Ming left the Zhou family. On this day, Lu Ming came to a huge city. This city was extremely grand, full of vicissitudes, and magnificent and domineering. On the city gate, there were 3 big words, Tianxia City. I'm actually in Tianxia City. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. Tianxia City was next to the World Academy. It was one of the top 10 ancient cities in the Middle Continent, and had a long history. The World Academy was northwest of the Heavenly Eagle Castle. Lu Ming had unknowingly passed through the Heavenly Eagle Castle's territory, and arrived at the World Academy. Since he was here, Lu Ming naturally had to take a look. After walking into Tianxia City, he realized that it was extremely prosperous. People came and went, and it was very lively. Why are there so many young prodigies? Lu Ming was a little surprised. He could see young prodigies walking by from time to time on the streets. They were in groups of 3 to 5, and each of them had a dignified appearance. They had the potential of dragons and phoenixes. They were definitely extremely powerful elites. Lu Ming sensed that many of them had awakened divine bloodlines. Although the Middle Continent was full of outstanding people, and had many more prodigies than the Eastern Wilderness, it was still unrealistic to meet groups of divine prodigies in a big city. Could it be that something big has happened in Tianxia City or the World Academy for so many prodigies to gather? Lu Ming guessed. That's... Lu Ming suddenly froze as he saw 2 familiar faces. Shuejiani and Shizhan. The Heavenly Corpse sects Shuejiani and Shizhan had actually appeared in Tianxia City in the Middle Continent. This shocked Lu Ming. Interesting. The strongest prodigies of the Heavenly Corpse sect are here. Then did Di Shun and the others come as well? Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Shuejiani and Shizhan didn't notice Lu Ming. Instead, they walked into a shop. Lu Ming came to a secret place, and his body started to change. After a while, Lu Ming turned into a dark-skinned, honest-looking youth. Then he used the illusion art, and his aura changed. Now, even those who were familiar with Lu Ming wouldn't be able to recognize him if they stood in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and strode down the street. Shuejiani and Shizhan walked out of the shop and passed by Lu Ming, but they didn't react at all. They treated Lu Ming as a stranger. Lu Ming smiled with satisfaction, and walked into a restaurant. Have you heard? A month ago, the sanguinarum of the Cold Blood Hall broke through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. What? The sanguinarum broke through as well? The sanguinarum isn't very strong among the second-grade prodigies. I didn't expect him to break through as well. It looks like most of the second-grade prodigies have broken through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. The 5 young titans broke through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm a year ago. Now the second-grade prodigies have broken through as well. From now on, the world will belong to the younger generation. The younger generation will welcome the era of the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. So many young prodigies have actually broken through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm in the same era. How unbelievable! Not long after he entered the restaurant, Lu Ming heard a wave of discussion. Lu Ming nodded to himself. Over a year had passed since the ancient herb garden, so it was normal for the second-grade prodigies to break through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. Chapter 1056. This is a great era, not only in the central continent, but also in the northern valley, the western desert, and the southern underworld. Some time ago, a genius from the northern valley came to the central continent and challenged one of the top 5 young warriors, Yang Patian. That battle was a great battle, but in the end it was a draw. I heard about that battle too. It's amazing. I didn't expect the Northern Plains to have a genius like the top 5 young warriors. Not only in the Northern Plains, but also in the Western Desert. A young holy monk entered the Central Continent and displayed his powerful combat strength. Also, a terrifying son of Underworld from the Southern Underworld entered the Central Continent. According to reliable sources, the Western Desert and Southern Underworld both have geniuses who are not weaker than the top 5 young warriors. Hearing this, Lu Ming raised his eyebrows and was shocked. He didn't expect the top 5 young warriors to appear in the Southern Underworld, Northern Plains, and Western Desert. The future was bound to be more exciting. What about the Eastern Wilderness? Are there any powerful geniuses in the Eastern Wilderness? Not in the Eastern Wilderness. The Eastern Wilderness has the word wilderness because it's a barren land. Since ancient times, it has been the weakest of the 5 domains. What geniuses can there be? Indeed. I heard that there are only 2 geniuses in the Eastern Wilderness who are not bad. One is Lu Ming, and the other is Di Shen. These 2 should be second-class geniuses. The others are just clowns who aren't worth mentioning. That's true. I also heard that there was a great battle in the Eastern Wilderness. Lu Ming is trapped and probably dead. Only Di Shen is left. Haha, it's just a barren land. What's there to talk about? Let's drink. There was a burst of laughter. When they talked about the Eastern Wilderness, their words were full of contempt. Humph, a bunch of rich kids. How dare you talk about being a hero? At this moment, a cold snort was heard in the restaurant. Everyone looked at a corner of the restaurant. There were 2 figures, a man and a woman. The man was burly and muscular. He was more than 2 meters tall and had bulging muscles. The woman's figure was graceful and beautiful, and her face was unparalleled. She was devastatingly beautiful. Ao2 Fengxian. Lu Ming was stunned. He recognized the 2 of them. They were the 2 most powerful geniuses of the Eastern Wilderness Sky Demon Valley. Oh, does that mean you're a hero? The 3 youths who had been discussing earlier were all dressed in white swordsman robes. It was obvious that they were from the same faction. At this moment, one of the young men with a sword on his back sneered at Ao Tuesday. It's hard to say whether I'm a hero or not, but suppressing you is as easy as flipping my palm. Ao2 sneered. He was very confident. In the Eastern Barren Territory, he was second only to Lu Ming and the Arch-God. He was one of the top talents and no one could defeat him. Even if he came to the Central Continent, he was still confident that he would not be weaker than others. Suppressing me with a flip of your palm? Ha ha ha, I've never seen you before. Are you from the Eastern Wilderness? The young man with a sword on his back asked. That's right, Ao2 of the Eastern Wasteland. Ao2 said. So you're a piece of trash from the Eastern Wasteland. You're just a worm. How dare you say that you can suppress me? You really don't know your place. The young man with a sword on his back shouted coldly. What did you say? Ao2 stood up angrily. Cold murderous intent shot out from his eyes, and a violent aura burst out. The restaurant was enveloped by a terrifying pressure. The young man with a sword on his back dared to call him a worm. That made him want to kill him. The young man with a sword on his back sneered. He pointed his finger like a sword and sliced Ao2's aura apart. Let's go out and fight. I'll let you know if you're a piece of trash or not. The young man with a sword on his back stepped out and flew into the sky. Ao2 stepped out as well. Haha, that worm from the Eastern Wilderness dares to fight with Senior Brother Song. He doesn't know what's good for him. Let's go out and have a look. The other 2 young men with swords on their backs laughed and followed Ao2 out. Then Fengxian followed them out. That's a genius from the Tianwu sword faction. That person just now seems to be Song Fei, the 3rd-ranked genius from the Tianwu sword faction. That flood dragon from the Eastern Wilderness wants to fight with Song Fei. Interesting. Let's go and have a look. Let's go. Inside the restaurant, everyone flew out and stood in the air to watch the battle. Lu Ming followed the crowd and flew out of the restaurant, hovering in the air. In the sky, Ao2 and Song Fei faced each other. Their powerful auras attracted many people. That's a flood dragon from the Eastern Wilderness. Do you think he has a chance of winning? Impossible. Song Fei is the 3rd-ranked genius from the Tianwu sword faction. He's extremely powerful. That flood dragon is no match for him. Many people were talking about it. There were 18 overlords in the central continent. Of course, there were also differences in strength among the overlords. The Tianwu sword faction was one of the top overlords in the central continent. It was stronger than Floating Mountain Sect, Cold Blood Hall, and Sky Eagle Castle. It had many experts and geniuses. As the third-ranked genius of the Tianwu sword faction, it was needless to say how powerful it was. Boom! Boom! Their auras roared in the sky, causing a terrifying whirlwind. Kill. AO2 was the first to attack. He transformed into his true form, a flood dragon that was a few hundred meters long. Its body was golden as if it was made of gold. Golden storm cut. AO2 roared. He opened his mouth and 9 rays of dark golden light shot out from his mouth. They cut through the air and slashed toward Song Fei. Clang. The sound of a sword rang out as a ray of sword light shot out like a bolt of lightning. It tore through the void and sliced through everything. Wherever the sword light passed, AO2's 9 rays of golden light were all cut through. However, the sword chi also dissipated. Gilded Dragon Claw. AO2's Flood Dragon Claw turned into a pure golden color. It was crystal clear and radiated a terrifying energy wave. The claw tore through the air. It was extremely terrifying. AO2 had reached the perfected spirit embryo level. When he attacked with his full strength, he was comparable to a spiritual god. However, Song Fei's cultivation was also at the perfected spirit embryo level. You have some skills. Take this. Song Fei shouted. His bloodline emerged. It was a silver-white battle sword with 7 golden chakras shining. Sword breaking the world. Song Fei transformed into a battle sword. The silver-white battle sword shone brightly as it slashed toward AO2's day. The battle sword and AO2's gilded dragon claw clashed. The sky was filled with golden and silver light. It was so dazzling that many people could not open their eyes. When the light dissipated, AO2 frantically retreated. There was a deep sword wound on his dragon claw. The scales on his claw were shattered and blood was flowing out. Whoosh! The silver battle sword slashed down again. Endless sword chi scattered. It was extremely terrifying. Deep scars appeared in the air. AO2 roared angrily and fought with all his might. However, Song Fei's sword chi was extremely sharp. It could cut through everything. It broke through AO2's attack and defense, leaving sword wounds on his body. AO2 was completely at a disadvantage. Soon, there were more than a dozen sword wounds on his body. Each of them was several meters long. Blood flowed out, and even spilled on the ground. This blood contains the bloodline of a true dragon. Take it. Someone unkindly took all the blood that AO2 left behind. This made AO2 roar in anger. However, he was no match for Song Fei even though he tried his best. Your flood dragon is not bad. I happen to be lacking a mount. You will be my mount from now on. Chapter 1057. Don't even think about it. AO2 roared angrily, feeling extremely aggrieved. AO2 had more than 70% of the true dragon bloodline. He had been the top talent of Sky Monster Valley since he was young. He was said to be able to compete with the Arch God. There were very few people among the younger generation in Eastern Wilderness who could compete with him. Although he was defeated by Lu Ming in the Battle of Providence, only Lu Ming and the Arch God were stronger than him in the entire Eastern Wilderness. The only other people who could compete with him were Xue Jiani and Feng Xian. He was still a peerless talent with a bright halo. However, when he came to Middle Continent, he was suppressed by a random young talent, and wanted to capture him as a mount. At this moment, his confidence was severely damaged. Swoosh! Swoosh! Beams of peerlessly sharp silver sword light sliced through the sky toward AO2's day. Even though AO2 had the true dragon bloodline, he was completely suppressed and torn apart by the terrifying sword chi. Surrender and be my mount, and I won't kill you. Otherwise you'll die today. Song Fei's cold voice came from the silver battle sword. Don't even think about it. AO2 shouted. Given his pride, he would rather die than be Song Fei's mount. Then die. The silver battle sword shone brightly, and the sword chi pierced through the air toward AO2's head. AO2 frantically retreated and blocked with all his might, but his head was almost chopped off. There was a deep wound on his neck. His body shrunk rapidly and escaped into the distance. Don't even think about leaving. Song Fei clearly had no intention of letting AO2 go. He chased after AO2's day. At this moment, a phoenix cry resounded. A divine bird that looked like a phoenix flew towards Song Fei. With a flap of its wings, a sky full of flames spread towards Song Fei. Song Fei was shocked. His sword chi whistled and cut through the flames. However, this delay allowed AO2 to rush into the distance and disappear without a trace. The divine bird that looked like a phoenix was extremely fast. It flapped its wings and turned into a beam of light, rushing into the distance. Song Fei shouted angrily and chased after it. However, after a while he failed to catch up. Lu Ming could clearly see that the phoenix-like divine bird was Feng Xian. She possessed the phoenix bloodline and was shockingly fast. Song Fei returned to his human form and snorted coldly. "What Donghuang prodigy? You're just trash." After saying that, he flew back into the tavern with the other two disciples of the celestial martial sword sect, and continued eating and drinking. In the crowd, Xue Jianyi and Shizhan were also watching the battle. Their faces turned ugly, but they didn't dare to make a sound. Song Fei's battle prowess was shocking, and Xue Jian knew that he was not Song Fei's opponent. "I didn't expect there to be so many geniuses in the Middle Continent. I heard that Song Fei is only the third-ranked genius of one of the factions, the Sky Martial Sword faction." Shizhan sighed. The battle just now had left him shaken. The Central Continent is indeed the center of the Divine Wilderness continent. Geniuses are everywhere. In the Eastern Wilderness, only Lu Ming and the Emperor can defeat Song Fei. Bloodsword nodded and the two of them left. Lu Ming didn't think much of it. He wasn't surprised by the outcome. AO2 and Song Fei were third-grade prodigies, but AO2 was only average among third-grade prodigies, while Song Fei was at the top among third-grade prodigies. He was close to the second-grade prodigies, so AO2 naturally wasn't his match. Lu Ming also returned to the tavern and continued eating and drinking. Soon he learned some new news. The reason so many prodigies had gathered in Tianxia City was that the World Academy's Jade Annulus would be opened in 3 days. The World Academy's Jade Annulus was said to contain endless mysteries. Martial artists who comprehended it would obtain great opportunities and benefits. It was even rumored that the All Things Jade Annulus contained a great secret and a divine treasury. However, it hadn't been opened for many years. The World Academy's Jade Annulus had always been closed to the public, but this time, it suddenly announced that it was open to the public. All the heroes of the world were free to visit and comprehend it. Once the news was out, it naturally attracted a large number of sky prides. The Jade Annulus? Since I'm here, I can't miss it. Lu Ming continued eating and drinking. The news he heard next wasn't too important. It was all about which prodigies were more powerful, which beauties were prettier, and so on. After eating and drinking, Lu Ming walked out of the tavern and found an inn to stay in. 3 days passed quickly. Lu Ming left Tianxia City and rushed to the World Academy. He wasn't the only one. Many prodigies stepped into the air and flew over. At a glance, the sky was filled with streaks of rainbow light, like a meteor shower. The World Academy was very close to Tianxia City. Soon they arrived. That's... Lu Ming was a little surprised when he saw it from afar. A snow-white palace floated in the air, emitting dazzling rays of light. The palace was extremely huge, like a city in the sky. It seemed to be completely made of jade. This was the core of the World Academy. Below the palace, there was a divine mountain covered in clouds. The spiritual chi was dense, and spiritual herbs were everywhere. Spiritual beasts were flying around. It was like a fairyland. The endless divine mountain below, and the white jade palace in the sky were the complete World Academy. However, only the core of the World Academy could enter the White Jade Palace. Lu Ming and the rest naturally couldn't enter. They landed outside the World Academy and walked along an ancient bluestone path. Soon they saw a huge stone tablet. There were 4 words written on the tablet. World Academy. The words were bold and powerful. At first glance, there was a terrifying aura that spread out. According to legend, these 4 words were left behind by a sacred emperor of the ancient Saint dynasty. They contained the sacred emperor's will. Tens of thousands of years ago, when the ancient Saint dynasty hadn't declined and ruled the 8 barren region, the World Academy was a place for the ancient Saint dynasty to cultivate talents. Countless experts had walked out of the World Academy. However, after the ancient Saint dynasty's Xie family declined, the World Academy became independent and became an overlord force. After passing by the stone tablet, there was a white jade staircase. The group climbed up the white jade staircase and arrived at a huge square. At this time, the square was filled with people. At a glance, there were probably tens of thousands of people. They were all geniuses. Everyone, the universal jade annulus is in front. Please follow me. A white-haired elder appeared and smiled. Then he flew forward and the group followed. After flying past dozens of mountains, the terrain in front of them leveled out. There were no mountains, only hills. On the hills there were clouds and mist, blocking the view. The group couldn't see through it. Array! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. According to legend, the World Academy was a force that cultivated both martial arts and inscriptions. There were experts who specialized in martial arts, and also those who cultivated inscriptions. There were also rumors that the World Academy had more than one sacred emperor. There were 2 of them. One was a martial arts sacred emperor, and the other was an inscription sacred emperor. Whoosh! 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 Figures flashed and a total of 8 elders appeared. Including the one who led the way, there were 9 of them. The 9 elders floated in the air and started to inscribe inscriptions. The inscriptions disappeared into the surrounding space. Who? Chapter 1058. Countless jade discs floated in the air. As far as the eye could see, it was densely packed with jade discs. Every single one of them seemed to be made of polished white jade. They were as smooth as a mirror as they floated vertically in the air. There was no end in sight. It was unknown how many of them there were. This was the all-jade disc. It was very different from what they had imagined. Lu Ming had imagined that the all-jade disc would be a huge jade disc. He didn't expect there to be so many of them. This is the all-jade disc. You can comprehend it on your own, but you can't destroy it. Otherwise, the World Academy won't let you off the hook. The last sentence of the old man who led the way made everyone's heart skip a beat. Everyone nodded. They didn't dare. Well, you see it. In front of each jade disc, there are 1 or several jade platforms. You can only comprehend it if you sit cross-legged on the jade platforms. The old man introduced. So that's what the jade platforms are for. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. A few jade platforms were suspended in front of each jade wall. Lu Ming had seen them long ago. It turned out that they were used for comprehension. This meant that each jade disc could only be comprehended by a few people at most. The jade platforms were very small, and could only accommodate 1 person at a time. Well, you can comprehend it on your own. The old man nodded and left with the other 8. Whoosh! Whoosh! As soon as the old man left, some people flew forward to find the jade discs. Lu Ming looked around and saw many familiar faces. Jing Kongling, Chu Kuang, Zhang Wenjing, and Hai Ziming from Floating Mountain were among them. In addition, Sandalwood Fairy In Bupo from Sky Eagle Castle, Sanguinarum from Cold Blood Hall, other talents from Cold Blood Hall, and Junyu from Demonic Mountain were among them. Lu Ming also saw familiar faces from Eastern Wilderness, Shuejiani, Shizhan, Ao2, and Fengxian. Dishun. Suddenly, Lu Ming's gaze shifted and he saw the Emperor God. Beside him was Dongfengyu. It seems that all the top talents from Eastern Wilderness are here. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before flying forward. Lu Ming went to the jade wall at the very front and carefully examined it. Suddenly, a tyrannical saber intent spread out, causing his expression to change slightly. In front of this jade wall, there was only a jade platform. At this moment, there was already a young man sitting cross-legged on it. Lu Ming continued to move forward. He discovered that each piece of jade gave off a completely different feeling. It's really strange. There are artistic conceptions, and it seems like there are absolute arts as well. However, they are extremely mysterious. If you want to gain anything from them, it will depend on your comprehension ability and luck. Lu Ming strolled around casually. Many people had already found their targets and were sitting cross-legged on the jade platform. Lu Ming, the arrangement of these jade discs is very strange. In my opinion, there must be a great secret. On his shoulder, Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Big secret? What secret? What did you see? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There were many rumors about the Vientiane jade disc in the outside world. But the most recognized rumor was that the Vientiane corn was connected to a mysterious place that contained divine treasures. The ancient World Academy could open it, but that method was lost later on. The World Academy had not opened it for many years. It was said that that place was very strange. In ancient times, supreme experts would often enter seclusion and cultivate there, leaving behind many relics and cave abodes of experts. This was very tempting, but unfortunately they could not enter later on. I don't know. I can't figure it out in a short time. I need time, Dandan said. He jumped down from Lu Ming's shoulder and walked around alone. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him and looked for the jade discs alone. Soon, Lu Ming came in front of a jade wall. Suddenly, he vaguely heard a dragon's roar, and a true dragon pounced at him. This is it. There was only a jade platform in front of this jade wall. No one had come yet. Lu Ming flew up, sat cross-legged on the jade platform, and closed his eyes to comprehend. Roar. The dragon's roar rang out. Lu Ming seemed to see a true dragon walking in the void. The dragon's aura was vast and mighty, causing the void to collapse and the earth to sink. It seems like every move contains supreme battle strength. Is this a true dragon battle technique? No, it doesn't seem like it. Lu Ming's mind raced. He felt that every move of the true dragon was a battle technique, but it also seemed like it was not. It was hard to grasp. Lu Ming tried to comprehend it carefully, but in the end he gained nothing. No, why should I comprehend any battle technique from it? I can compare it with my 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he began to comprehend. In this way, he indeed felt that he had benefited a lot. His comprehension of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps increased rapidly. He had already cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to the 7th step. At this step, it was even more difficult to cultivate. Every step was very difficult. Without luck, he might not be able to cultivate it in his lifetime. Every bit of improvement was rare and precious. Lu Ming sat cross-legged for 3 days. When he felt that he could not gain anything more, he got up and left to look for the next piece. In the sky, in the huge white jade palace, a few elders were discussing something. Sect Master, is this really going to work? One of them asked. This is the only way. The sacred mansion has not been opened for many years. This time, with the arrival of the great era and the gathering of prodigies, everyone has great opportunities. Perhaps this is a chance. Perhaps someone can open the sacred mansion's secret realm. A white-haired elder with a sage-like demeanor said. I hope so. The others sighed. Lu Ming looked at a few more jade discs, but none of them were suitable for him. After looking at more than a dozen jade discs, Lu Ming finally found a suitable one. This jade disc still had dragon roars coming out. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the jade platform. Just like the previous jade discs, there were true dragons rolling in the void. However, what was different this time was that there were 2 true dragons. The 2 true dragons were fighting fiercely, their roars shaking the heavens. This is a true dragon battle skill. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The 2 true dragons clawed at each other. Dragon might lashed out as the dragons soared into the sky. Every move had destructive power. This was clearly a powerful true dragon battle skill. This battle skill is comparable to a divine battle skill. It will be very useful to me. Lu Ming was excited. After he used bloodline fusion to transform into 9 dragons, he usually only used the 9 dragons heaven-stomping step and the hell-suppressing heaven skill. Other than that, the 9 dragons relied on brute force to fight and lacked killing moves. If he had this true dragon battle skill, he would definitely be stronger when he transformed into 9 dragons. Lu Ming carefully observed the battle between the 2 true dragons. He sat there for 10 days. Lu Ming had been watching the battle between the 2 true dragons all the time. His understanding of the true dragon's combat skills was already quite good. Scram, this jade disc is mine. Suddenly, a cold shout was heard, causing many people to involuntarily turn their heads to look. Shuejiani and Huang Kuei. Lu Ming's heart jumped. Shuejiani was sitting cross-legged in front of a jade disc. Huang Kuei coldly looked at Shuejiani. It was Huang Kuei who told Shuejiani to scram. Shuejiani frowned and said, "Brother, I was the one who got here first." "So what if you came first? You're just a country bumpkin from the eastern wilderness. What right do you have to comprehend the myriad jade discs?" Scram. Chapter 1059. Huang Kuei said coldly. His eyes were cold and filled with disdain. He looked like a young master from a big city looking at a bumpkin from the countryside. Shuejiani's face darkened. He had his pride. Before the Battle of Providence, he was ranked second on the list of top 1,000 talents, second only to the Emperor God. No one in the eastern wilderness dared to talk to him like that. Huang Kuei actually told him to get lost, and said that he was not qualified to comprehend here. The arrogant Shuejiani was furious. "What's with that look? Bumpkin, do you want to die?" Huang Kuei scolded. "Let's see if you have what it takes to get this jade disc." Shuejiani said coldly. "What do you mean by that? Do you want to challenge me?" Huang Kuei said. "That's right. The blood sword Dao was so arrogant, yet he was actually being looked down upon like this. He couldn't take it. He wanted everyone to know his strength. Ha ha ha, since you want to be humiliated, I'll fulfill your wish. Let's go out and fight." Huang Kuei laughed heartily as his figure soared into the sky. He flew out of the all appearances Jade Walls area and arrived in the sky not far away. Shuejiani's figure moved and also rushed into the sky, arriving in front of Huang Kuei. The two of them stood in the air. Interesting. That guy seems to be from the eastern wilderness. There's no expert in that barren land. He's just asking to be humiliated by challenging Huang Kuei. Let's go and see. Many people smiled and flew into the sky to watch from afar. Many people directly raised their heads to look at the Vientiane Jade Wall. The eastern wilderness has always been the weakest of the 5 domains. There are almost no experts there. The so-called talents in the eastern wilderness are all ignorant. They think that they're invincible just because they're the best in the eastern wilderness. They don't know that there's always someone stronger. That's right. Not long ago, a flood dragon from the eastern wilderness was also very arrogant, but he was completely defeated by Song Fei from the Sky Martial Sword sect. He almost became a mount. Haha, is that so? Ao2, Feng Xian, and even Di Shen and Dongfeng Yu frowned when they heard the disdainful whispers from the crowd. At this moment, Huang Kuei and Shuejiani's bodies were covered in blood-red light. Both of them had cultivated blood essence. Blood essence? You're just showing off in front of an expert. Huang Kuei sneered. Shuejiani, unsheath. Clang. A blood-red battle sword flew out from between Blood Sword's eyebrows. As it flew out, it grew to 10 meters long. As it grew, it split into 2, then 4, and finally 16 blood-red battle swords that danced around Blood Sword. Kill. Blood Sword yelled. He formed a sword finger and waved it. The 16 swords turned into 16 blood-red sword lights, and stabbed toward Huang Kuei. As the 16 swords danced in the air, they erupted with boundless sword chi. 16 blood-red swords wrapped in boundless sword chi blasted toward Huang Kuei. Shuejiani's battle power was more than 10 times stronger than when he was in the Battle of Providence. His cultivation had reached perfection in spirit embryo, and his conception of blood and sword had become one. As his sword chi swept past, terrifying marks were left in the space. Blood Flame Emperor's Claw. Seeing this, Huang Kuei did not dare to be careless. As the blood-red light spread out, he continued to attack with his claws. In an instant he had attacked hundreds of times. Huang Kuei attacked hundreds of times, and the boundless blood-red claw lights flooded toward Shuejiani. Every claw light was terrifyingly sharp and gave off a scorching aura. It had the power to burn and corrode. Huang Kuei's cultivation was also at perfection. Pung, pung, pung. The blood-red claw lights and the sword chi clashed, and the air trembled. Blood light rushed into the sky, and the sword chi surged. The blood-red claw lights and the sword chi cancelled each other out, and they were evenly matched. Huang Kuei's face was ugly and gloomy. He couldn't even take down a country bumpkin from Eastern Desolation, which made him feel embarrassed. Kill. Bloodthirsty realm. Huang Kuei yelled and used bloodthirsty great art. A blood-red light shrouded Shuejiani. Being shrouded by bloodthirsty great art, Shuejiani's face changed. He felt the blood in his body boiling, and a powerful force was pulling at his blood. Swoosh. Shuejiani hurriedly retreated, wanting to leave the range of bloodthirsty great art. However, Huang Kuei held him tightly, and Shuejiani couldn't escape from Huang Kuei's attacks. Helpless, Shuejiani could only execute bloodline fusion and transform into a blood-red battle sword. However, Huang Kuei also executed bloodline fusion and transformed into a blood-red claw. The blood claw and the blood sword clashed, and Shuejiani flew back rapidly. Under the influence of bloodthirsty great art, Shuejiani was at a disadvantage. Pung, pung, pung. After continuous clashes, Huang Kuei gradually gained the upper hand and suppressed Shuejiani. After dozens of moves, the blood-red battle sword crumbled, and Shuejiani spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His face was pale. Shuejiani was defeated and wasn't Huang Kuei's match. The blood claw flashed and transformed back into Huang Kuei. He looked at Shuejiani with disdain and sneered. I said that a country bumpkin like you isn't qualified to cultivate in myriad jade wall. Shuejiani's face darkened, but he didn't say anything. He had lost. What did a loser have to say? I heard that you used to be ranked second on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Barren Territory. It seems that the Eastern Barren Territory is really weak. If the second place is so weak, then the first place can't be any better. I heard that the first place is called Dishen. I guess he must be here today. Tell him to come out and I'll take care of him today. Then you people from the Eastern Barren Territory can pack up and go back to the Eastern Barren Territory. Huang Kuei was incomparably arrogant. He wanted to trample on the people of the Eastern Barren Territory today to make himself more famous. Are you looking for me? A cold voice sounded, and a figure stepped out. Lu Ming's eyes moved. It was Dishen. Huang Kuei looked at Dishen and said, You're Dishen. That's right. Dishen nodded calmly. You came at the right time. Come, I'll take care of you too. Huang Kuei sneered. Clang. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying sword power rose from Dishen's body. A mighty sword chi was as tall as the sky and exuded supreme pressure. Huang Kuei's expression changed drastically, and he broke out in cold sweat. Spiritual God. You're a spiritual god. Huang Kuei shouted in horror. Clang. A sword cry resounded as the sword chi slashed toward Huang Kuei. Huang Kuei retreated in horror. At the same time, he performed bloodline fusion and used all his strength to block the attack. But it was in vain. The sword chi slashed and the blood claw exploded. Huang Kuei's body smashed into the ground below like a cannonball, creating a huge pit. Huang Kuei lay in the pit and kept coughing up blood. The crowd fell silent, and then they burst into an uproar. This person is so strong. He defeated Huang Kuei in one move. He's a spiritual god. I didn't expect there to be such a genius in the Eastern Barren Territory. His name is Dishen. Before the Battle of Providence, he was ranked first on the list of top 1,000 talents. Later, he was defeated by someone called Lu Ming in the Battle of Providence. Now he's ranked second. What? There's a stronger genius in the Eastern Barren Territory? Chapter 1060. Dishen did not even look at Huang Kuei as he turned around, and was about to head for the Jade Annulus. You think you can leave after beating up someone from Cold Blood Hall? A cold voice rang out as a blood-robed youth stepped out and blocked Dishen's path. It's Sanguinarum! Someone exclaimed. Sanguinarum is going to make a move. Even more people's eyes were burning with passion. Some time ago, they had heard that Sanguinarum had entered the spiritual god realm, while Dishen was also at the spiritual god realm. The two spiritual god realm geniuses were about to make a move, which made many people's eyes light up. For Dishen to be able to break through to the spiritual god realm at his age, he was definitely a second-class genius. It was rare to see two second-class geniuses make a move. You want to make a move? Then let's do it. I also want to see how outstanding the Central Continent geniuses are. Dishan said calmly, but his tone was full of confidence. Now that he had made a major breakthrough in the space will, he was confident that he was not weaker than anyone. Even if he faced Lu Ming again, he was 100% confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Sanguinarum's eyes were cold as his body emitted a shocking blood-red light. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, many figures appeared in the sky. All of them were giants among men. Jing Kongling, Sandalwood Fairy, Junyu In Bupo, Kong Xian. Some people recognized that they were all second-class geniuses. There were more than 10 of them. This made people's hearts tremble. Apart from the Battle of Providence, this was the gathering of the second-class geniuses. Obviously, the battle between Sanguinarum and Dishan had attracted them. Boom, boom. Sanguinarum and Dishan released a terrifying aura at the same time. A saber radiance shot up into the sky from Sanguinarum's body, while a sword radiance shot out from Dishan's body. The saber radiance and sword radiance clashed, and their power was extremely terrifying. Clang. The sword radiance and saber radiance met in the air, and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. At this moment, Sanguinarum and Dishan moved at the same time. Blood-gathering heavenly saber. Big Dipper Emperor Sword. As soon as they made their move, both of them executed low-grade divine rank martial skills. At their level, there was no need for probing anymore. Every move they made was a killing move, and they had to carry out an incomparably terrifying killing move. Boom. The saber and the sword collided. Saber light and sword chi overflowed, cutting the space in half. One side was the saber world, and the other side was the sword world. The two of them retreated at the same time before colliding again. Boom, boom, boom. In just a few breaths, the two of them had already exchanged dozens of blows. Spatial cracks were constantly being torn apart in the sky. The deep spatial cracks seemed to be able to suck in one's mind. It was incomparably terrifying. Many people kept retreating, not daring to stand too close, because their combat strength was too strong, and it far surpassed an ordinary first-level spirit god. Even the energy that leaked out from their bodies was capable of killing an ordinary first-level spirit god. One could only imagine how terrifying it was. There were only a dozen or so people who could stand at the front to watch the battle. They were all at the same level as Sanguinarum. The Emperor God's combat strength has made a major breakthrough. It's even more unfathomable now. Lu Ming did not fly up into the sky. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the jade platform in front of the jade wall and looked up. He felt that the Emperor God had not used his full strength at all. Bloodthirsty Realm. Sanguinarum executed the Bloodthirsty Realm, but it was useless. It was split apart by the Emperor God's sword. Sanguinarum's face turned solemn. He was starting to lose confidence in the battle. How can he be so strong? The Emperor God is only ranked second in the Eastern Wilderness. How can there be such an expert in the Eastern Wilderness? Sanguinarum's mind raced. Finally, he executed the Bloodline Fusion, and turned into a blood-red bat. After executing the Bloodline Fusion, Sanguinarum let out a cry and released a terrifying sound wave attack. At the same time, it flapped its wings and charged towards the Emperor God like a blood-red lightning bolt. However, the Emperor God stood there motionless. You're not dodging? Go to hell. Sanguinarum's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he charged towards the Emperor God. However, when he reached the Emperor God, he felt that something was amiss. It was just an illusion. At this moment, the Emperor God suddenly appeared behind Sanguinarum and slashed out with his sword. This is space essence? Many people's pupils contracted rapidly. They were in disbelief. Oh no! Sanguinarum sensed danger and flapped his wings to dodge the attack. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, the Emperor God stepped in the air and his body flashed in and out of the air. He was extremely fast and charged towards Sanguinarum. Instant step. However, compared to the Battle of Providence, the Emperor God's instant step was much stronger. He was extremely fast and could move a few miles in a flash. It was impossible to catch him. Space essence. It's really the space essence. This time, even more people saw it, and some people cried out in alarm. Gosh, it's really the space essence. How is this possible? Someone in the Eastern Wilderness has comprehended the space essence. Unbelievable. Yang Patian, one of the top 5 youths, has comprehended the space essence. I didn't expect someone in the Eastern Wilderness to have comprehended the space essence as well. Waves of exclamations and cries of disbelief could be heard from all around. Space and time were king. The space essence was too strong. It was not just a saying. Even Jing Kongling and the other second-class prodigies looked solemn. In their hearts, the Emperor God was an extremely terrifying opponent. Space essence. It's the space essence. Then I'll break your space essence. Sanguinarum shouted. The blood-winged heavenly bat opened its mouth and roared. A terrifying sound wave burst out. Wherever the sound wave passed, the space rippled like water. In the end, it cracked open, revealing deep spatial rifts. The Emperor God frowned. His aura became stronger and stronger as he slashed out with his sword. This sword contained 3 types of concepts: the sword essence, the golden flame essence, and the space essence. This sword moved the space and formed a large space crack. The sword light slashed out. It was unstoppable as it slashed toward Sanguinarum. Sanguinarum shouted. Blood-winged heavenly bat's wings were like blades as it slashed out with its strongest attack. Boom. Heaven and earth shook. Rays of light swept across the sky. A pillar of light shot up into the sky, scattering the clouds in the sky. A hole seemed to have been punched in the sky. Bang. A figure retreated quickly. It was the blood-winged heavenly bat. As the blood-winged heavenly bat retreated, he turned back into his human form. However, there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Sanguinarum was injured. Do you still want to fight? The Emperor God's hair fluttered. His eyes were like lightning as he stared at Sanguinarum. He had an invincible confidence. That's it for today. We'll fight another day. Sanguinarum's face turned ugly. He snorted coldly. Then his figure flashed, and he instantly disappeared. Sanguinarum actually left just like that. Everyone knew that Sanguinarum had lost. He had lost to the Emperor God. Chapter 1061. Dishan, a genius from Eastern Wilderness, had defeated Sanguinarum, shocking everyone. Dishan is so powerful. He didn't even use his bloodline. I didn't expect there to be someone like him in Eastern Wilderness. I heard that Dishan is a direct descendant of a martial emperor in Eastern Wilderness. He's so talented that he's ranked 2nd in Eastern Wilderness. What? Dishan is ranked 2nd in Eastern Wilderness? I thought he was the top genius in Eastern Wilderness. Who's ranked 1st then? Lu Ming is ranked 1st. Dishan is so powerful, but Lu Ming is able to defeat him. What kind of genius is he? Looks like this generation is a great era. Even Eastern Wilderness has risen to prominence. Geniuses like Lu Ming and Dishan are born. Many people were amazed by Dishan's power. They were also curious about Lu Ming, who was able to defeat Dishan. Sanguinarum is so unlucky. He has lost a few battles in the past year. He was defeated by a genius called Lu Shaoqing a year ago, and now he's defeated by Dishan. That's how the fight between geniuses works. The weak will become the stepping stones of the stronger. Some people who had grudges with Cold Blood Hall deliberately dug up Sanguinarum's past. Looks like we have another powerful opponent in the future, Demonic Mountain Lord said. His eyes filled with a strong fighting spirit. He's really terrifying. In Bupo nodded. His combat strength was almost the same as Sanguinarum's, and he was probably no match for Dishan. According to the World Academy, Tiansu Cave is open. Anyone who passes it can enter the marrow cleansing pool once. Suddenly, a piece of news came, causing an uproar at the scene. What? Tiansu Cave is open? Anyone who passes it can enter the marrow cleansing pool? Is that true? It's true. It's definitely true. The news came from the headmaster of the World Academy. Gosh, it's great that I can enter the marrow cleansing pool. I want to give it a try too. You? Stop dreaming. Who doesn't know that the World Academy's Sky Market Cave is terrifyingly difficult? Since ancient times, very few people have been able to pass it. How would you know if you don't try? I heard that the Heavenly Ruin Cave doesn't test one's strength. Everyone who enters the Heavenly Ruin Cave will face different situations. There was once a martial king who entered the heavenly ruin cave. That's true. Let's give it a try. After an intense discussion, countless people flew in a certain direction. Sky Market Cave? Marrow Cleansing Pool? I didn't expect the World Academy to open the Marrow Cleansing Pool. I can fight for it. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The World Academy's Marrow Cleansing Pool was famous all over the world. Entering the Marrow Cleansing Pool would allow a martial artist's physical body to undergo a metamorphosis, complete a sublimation, and finally reach perfection. One of the most important conditions for breaking through to the martial emperor realm was to have a perfect grade 9 physical body. However, after cultivating the perfect grade 9 physical body, it would be difficult to complete it. There would be a hurdle that would be difficult to cross. However, the Marrow Cleansing Pool could complete the perfect grade 9 physical body and lay the first foundation for breaking through to the martial emperor realm. Many peerless geniuses who aspired to become martial emperors were tempted. For example, Jing Kongling, Junyu, and the others. Even those geniuses who knew that they had no chance of breaking through to the martial emperor realm were tempted. Who wouldn't want to have a stronger physical body? Lu Ming was also tempted. His physical body had reached the perfect grade 9 physical body. If he could cultivate his physical body to the perfect grade 9 physical body in the Marrow Cleansing Pool, it would save him a lot of trouble in the future. Lu Ming also left the jade platform and followed the crowd in a certain direction. Soon, they arrived in front of a huge mountain. This mountain was extremely huge. The bottom of the mountain was at least 100 miles wide. At the foot of the mountain there was a huge cave. This was the Sky Market Cave. The Sky Market Cave led from here to the other side of the mountain. It was 100 miles long. As long as one could pass through the Sky Market Cave and come out from the other side, one would be considered to have passed the Sky Market Cave and be given a slot to enter the Marrow Cleansing Pool. However, the Sky Market Cave was extremely mysterious. It was said that everyone who entered would encounter different things. Since ancient times, very few people had been able to pass it. It was extremely mysterious. I'll give it a try. A young man rushed into the Sky Market Cave. Soon, a light flashed outside the Sky Market Cave, and he was teleported out. He returned to the crowd dejectedly. What happened? What did you encounter? Someone asked. As soon as I entered, I encountered a powerful beast. It slapped me and I was severely injured. That's why I was teleported out. Fortunately, the injury was fake. I recovered as soon as I came out. That person replied. I'll give it a try. Another person rushed in. After a while he was also teleported out. Someone asked him. The person said that he encountered a battle sword, and it directly chopped him into pieces. Everyone looked at each other. Indeed, everyone who entered would encounter different situations. It was impossible to know the flaws, weaknesses, and patterns. Next, the Sky Prides entered the Sky Market Cave one after another. However, none of them succeeded. Jing Kongling, Junyu, and the other Sky Prides did not move. They stood in the void and watched quietly. Lu Ming did not move either. He was not in a hurry and let the others go first. In the end, Lu Ming closed his eyes and comprehended the will of heaven and earth. For 10 days, countless people went in. However, none of them succeeded. Everyone was dejected. Chu Kuang, Zhang Wenjing, and the other grade 3 Sky Prides also went in. However, they all failed. Yin Bupo went in. Someone shouted. Many people were shocked. Finally, a grade 2 Sky Pride made a move. Yin Bupo went in for a long time. After half an hour, he still had not come out. Can Yin Bupo make it? Someone guessed. It was very likely that he had not come out after half an hour. Grade 2 Sky Prides were indeed different. Someone went to the other side of the mountain and waited to see if Yin Bupo would come out of the Sky Market Cave. Suddenly, a light flashed at the entrance of the Sky Market Cave. Yin Bupo was also sent out. Sigh. Yin Bupo sighed. He had also failed. This Sky Market Cave is too difficult. Even a grade 2 Sky Pride can't make it. It's indeed too difficult. I wonder if the 5 young overlords can make it. Many people sighed. Whoosh. A ray of blood light rushed in. It's Sanguinarum. Someone recognized him. Sanguinarum had apparently recovered from his injuries. He also appeared here and wanted to try the Sky Market Cave. Unfortunately, similar to embark, he was also sent out after half an hour. He had also failed. Next, Junyu Sandalwood Fairy, and the others went in one after another. However, they all failed. Wu Qinkong went in. Someone whispered. A young man in a white robe with a long sword on his back stepped into the Sky Market Cave. Wu Qinkong, the #1 Sky Pride of the Sky Martial Sword Sect. He was an extremely terrifying and powerful figure. He was very famous in the Central Continent. Grade 2 Sky Prides were also divided into strong and weak ones. Wu Qinkong was undoubtedly one of the top Grade 2 Sky Prides. He was known as one of the strongest Sky Prides after the 5 young overlords. Chapter 1062. Almost an hour had passed since Wu Qinkong entered. In the end, Wu Qinkong failed and was sent out. Even Wu Qinkong failed. Will we be able to get through the Tianshu cave? Yeah, it's too difficult. Maybe he can't even pass the 5 giants. That's not necessarily true. The Tianshu cave doesn't test pure combat strength. Many people sighed. Even Wu Qinkong could not pass it. It was too difficult. Wu Qinkong flew to the side with his combat sword on his back, and sat in the air calmly. I'll give it a try. Jing Kongling stepped into the air, and entered the Tianshu cave, surrounded by clouds. However, no one was optimistic about Jing Kongling. Even Wu Qinkong had failed. No one thought that Jing Kongling could pass. Almost an hour later, a cry of surprise came from the exit of the Tianshu cave. Success! Jing Kongling succeeded. Exclamations rose and fell. What? Jing Kongling succeeded? Let's go and see. Instantly, many people flew to the other side of the mountain. Even Sandalwood Fairy, Junyu, and Wu Qinkong could not help but fly to the other side of the mountain. When they arrived, they saw Jing Kongling standing in the void. Jing Kongling had passed the Tianshu cave. Whoosh! Whoosh! At that moment, 2 beams of light flew down from the white jade palace in the sky and turned into 2 white-robed elders. They were the 2 elders of the World Academy. Haha, Miss Jing Kongling, congratulations on obtaining a spot to enter the marrow cleansing pool. This token is for you. The marrow cleansing pool will open in half a month. With this token, you can enter the marrow cleansing pool. An old man laughed. A badge appeared in his hand, and he handed it to Jing Kongling. Thank you, senior. Jing Kongling thanked him and took the token. Many people looked at Jing Kongling enviously. This was a token that could allow one to enter the marrow cleansing pool. Embark, Sanguinarum, Junyu, and the others were even more envious. They were all aspiring sovereigns. The marrow cleansing pool could save them a lot of time. Wu Qinkong's eyes were burning with passion. He looked at Jing Kongling possessively. Everyone knew that Wu Qinkong was Jing Kongling's admirer, but Jing Kongling did not seem to be interested in him. Sister Kongling, congratulations. Sandalwood Fairy smiled and walked towards Jing Kongling to congratulate him. Fairy Sandalwood did not feel anything about the marrow cleansing pool. She cultivated the Tao of inscription, so the strength of her physical body did not matter much. Jing Kongling was also quite happy. At first, she didn't think that she would be able to pass. Then, everyone returned to the entrance of the Heavenly Market Cave. A tall and straight figure stepped in. It's him, Emperor God. Many people's eyes flickered. After defeating Sanguinarum last time, Dishan's fame had increased greatly, and he had attracted a lot of attention. Many people were watching and guessing whether the Imperial God could pass through the Sky Market Cave. It shouldn't be possible. The Pure Void Spirit is a special case. I really don't know what the requirements are for entering the Heavenly Market Cave. It's too difficult to pass through the Heavenly Market Cave. Based on this ratio, less than 10 people in the world can pass through. Indeed, the World Academy already knew that not many people could pass. That's why they opened the marrow cleansing pool. Otherwise, if everyone could pass, the World Academy would suffer a huge loss. Some people were chatting and waiting. Suddenly, he passed. Dishan passed. Another cry of surprise rang out. What? He passed. How is that possible? A group of people was shocked and hurriedly flew over to take a look. Indeed, they saw Dishan at the entrance of the heavenly market cave. Dishan really passed through the heavenly market cave. This Dishan is amazing. Some people sighed and began to re-evaluate Dishan. Dishan had first defeated Sanguinarum, and now he had passed through the heavenly market cave. It was really amazing. Naturally, many people thought of Lu Ming. Anyone who knew about the Eastern Wilderness geniuses knew that Lu Ming, not Dishan, was the strongest in the Eastern Wilderness. Even Wu Chengkong stared at Dishan with two beams of terrifying sword light in his eyes. As expected of Dishan, the strongest descendant of De. In the crowd, Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. Dishan was indeed very strong and talented. He had comprehended 3 types of intent realm, and he even had a terrifying intent realm like the space intent realm. During the War of Providence, Lu Ming had relied on the combination of the path of inscription to barely suppress Dishan. In Lu Ming's heart, he had never underestimated Dishan. Now that more than a year and a half had passed, Dishan had become even more terrifying. In the White Jade Palace above, the 2 elders flew down again and looked at Dishan in surprise. Another person had passed. This was indeed beyond the expectations of the World Academy's higher-ups. Young Master Dishan, take this token. With it, you can enter the marrow cleansing pool to cultivate. One of the elders handed Dishan a token. Dishan took it and thanked the elder. Yang Patian is here. Suddenly, a cry of surprise came from the front. What? Yang Patian, one of the 5 giants, is here. The scene was filled with exclamations. Then one by one they rushed forward. In the air, a young man walked over. This young man had his hands behind his back. His hair was loose, and he was tall and burly. His eyes were bright and full of wildness. Step by step, he walked very slowly, but there was a supreme majesty exuding from him. Everyone felt a huge pressure weighing down on their hearts. Wu Chengkong, Junyu, and the other sky prides looked solemn. Dishan's eyes revealed a trace of battle intent. Like Dishan, Yang Patian had also cultivated the space intent realm. Is this Yang Patian, one of the 5 young giants? Lu Ming's eyes were bright as he stared at Yang Patian. Yang Patian gave him a strong sense of pressure. He had a feeling that this person was very strong and dangerous. Yang Patian walked in the air. Without looking at the crowd, he walked into the sky market cave and disappeared. Let's go to the exit. Yang Patian should be able to pass through the sky market cave. Many people flew to the exit of the sky market cave. Even the 2 elders from the World Academy did not leave. Instead, they waited at the exit. Half an hour later, a tall figure stepped out of the sky market cave's exit. Yang Patian. He had indeed passed through the sky market cave. Amazing, amazing. The 5 giants should be able to pass through the sky market cave. That's right. The 5 giants are too terrifying. In the past, they were all sky prides that only appeared once in 1,000 years. However, 5 of them appeared at the same time in this generation. Many people sighed. The 5 giants were the pinnacle of all the sky prides in the central continent. The ultimate goal of all the young people was to be powerful. It was certain that they would become supremes. In the future, there was a high chance that they would break through to the emperor realm. In other words, they were the next generation of emperors. It's time for me to give it a try. Lu Ming smiled. He walked to the entrance and stepped in. Chapter 1063. After Yang Patian received the token from the World Academy's elder, many people returned to the entrance of the sky market cave. After Yang Patian put away the token, he stepped into the air and left as if there was nothing worth his attention. Another person went in. Who is it? I wanted to go in and give it a try. I don't know him. He's just a small fry. I think he'll come out in less than 2 minutes. Today is really exciting. 3 people passed the sky market cave in a row. Yeah, but the strongest group of people have already gone in. I don't think anyone else will pass. Many people chatted casually, planning to wait for Lu Ming to fail and be teleported out. But 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes passed and Lu Ming still hadn't come out. Nest, that guy can actually hold on for so long. Strange. Let's wait a little longer. Maybe he'll come out in a while. However, they waited for a long time, But Lu Ming still didn't come out. They couldn't help but look at each other. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into the Sky Market Cave, his surroundings changed and he arrived on a platform. Formation. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There was an extremely powerful formation in the Sky Market Cave. No, my cultivation. At this moment, Lu Ming was shocked to discover that his cultivation level had been decreasing at a rapid pace. From the Spirit God realm to the Spirit Embryo realm, then to the Spirit Sea realm, King realm, Martial Ancestor. In the end, Lu Ming's cultivation fell all the way to the 9th level of the Martial Warrior realm before stopping. His Intent realm, 2nd bloodline and 3rd bloodline were all sealed. Only the 9 Dragons bloodline wasn't sealed. The combat strength he could exert was actually similar to when he was at the 9th level of the Martial Warrior realm. Beside Lu Ming, there was a long spear. In front of the platform, a figure condensed. It was a middle-aged man with a long sword on his back. The aura he emitted was at the 1st level of the Martial Master realm. That long spear is your weapon. If you can defeat me, you can go to the next level, the middle-aged man said coldly. Then he unsheathed his sword and a sharp sword light cut through the air, making an ear-piercing sound as it slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming pulled out the long spear beside him, shook it, and displayed the astral fire spear art. Whoosh! The long spear turned into a beam of rainbow light, and pierced through the middle-aged man's forehead, killing him instantly. The middle-aged man's figure collapsed and disappeared without a trace. Is this a test of my battle prowess in the Martial Warrior 9th layer? Lu Ming guessed. In the next moment, 3 figures appeared in front of the platform. The 3 middle-aged men looked exactly the same, and their cultivations were all at Martial Master realm. The 3 of them unsheathed their swords at the same time and charged at Lu Ming. With a flick of his spear, he engaged in a fierce battle with the 3 middle-aged men. In a short while, the 3 of them were killed. When Lu Ming had been a 9th-level martial warrior, it had not been difficult for him to kill a 1st-level martial master. After killing the 3 people, the surrounding environment changed again, and Lu Ming appeared on another platform. My cultivation has reached the 9th-level martial master realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he discovered that his cultivation had reached the 9th-level martial master realm. In front of him, another middle-aged man appeared. He looked the same as the previous one, but his cultivation was completely different. This middle-aged man emitted an aura of a 1st-level martial master realm. Sure enough, was this a test of Lu Ming's battle prowess at each stage? There was nothing to say. The 2 of them fought and Lu Ming killed the middle-aged man in just one move. In the next moment, 3 other middle-aged men at the 1st-level martial master realm appeared, and were also killed by Lu Ming. After that, Lu Ming's cultivation rose to the 9th-level martial master realm, and the opponent that appeared was at the 1st-level martial ancestor realm. The outcome was the same. Lu Ming overcame all the difficulties and passed this round. In the next stage, Lu Ming's cultivation was at the half-step king realm, and his opponent was at the 1st-level martial king realm. At this time, Lu Ming discovered that he could use the power of the 2nd bloodline. However, he could only unleash the power of the half-step king realm. In this battle, Lu Ming spent a bit of time, because the further he went, the harder it was to fight across realms. However, Lu Ming still passed. Then Lu Ming's cultivation rose to the peak king realm, and his opponent became at the 1st-level spiritual sea realm. This battle took up a lot of time, but he still managed to pass it. Then, it was the perfect spiritual sea realm, and the 1st-level spirit embryo realm. He also passed. However, when Lu Ming's cultivation rose to the perfect spirit embryo realm, and the 1st-level battle spirit god realm, he encountered a real challenge. In the beginning, when he faced a 1st-level spirit god realm, Lu Ming could still relax and kill him in the end. However, when he fought against 3 1st-level spirit god realm experts, he encountered a huge challenge. Lu Ming used all his strength to fight against the 3 1st-level spirit god realm experts. This battle lasted for half an hour. Lu Ming killed the 3 1st-level spirit god realm experts with great difficulty, and he himself was severely injured. This is too difficult. If it's all this difficulty, how did Jing Kongling pass? How did the Emperor God pass? Lu Ming thought speechlessly. It was hard to say, but Lu Ming was sure that Jing Kongling and the Emperor God couldn't kill 3 first-level Spirit God realm experts when their spirit embryos were at the perfect stage. Everyone faces different situations in the Sky Market Cave. Could it be that my luck is bad and I encountered a difficult one? Lu Ming was speechless. At this time, the surrounding environment changed. Lu Ming discovered that there was a cave entrance in front of him. Bright light shone from the cave entrance. Lu Ming passed through the entrance of the Sky Market Cave. At this time, Lu Ming discovered that his cultivation had recovered to the first-level Spirit God realm, and the injuries he suffered earlier had also healed. Without hesitation, he took a step out. As soon as he stepped out, he saw that some people outside the cave were staring at him in disbelief. At the entrance of the Heavenly Ruins cave, there were undoubtedly more people guarding it. However, at this moment, some of them were already impatient. Who is it? Why hasn't he come out after so long? I've been waiting for an hour. Yeah, who went in just now? Could it be another second-class prodigy? I didn't see him just now. No, I've never seen that person before. I don't know him. You don't know him? He must be a small fry. How could he have been in there for so long? Could he have passed? Impossible, he can't have passed. At this time, an incredulous shout came from the entrance of the Sky Market Cave. He passed. Another person passed. Who is he? Why haven't I seen him before? The voices were clearly heard, and the people at the entrance of the Sky Market Cave were stunned. They looked at each other in dismay. He passed. Who is it? Let's go take a look. At this time, almost everyone flew toward the entrance of the Sky Market Cave. When they saw Lu Ming, they were all shocked. This was because no one knew him. They had never seen him before. Lu Ming smiled bitterly as he looked around. His tanned face revealed a simple and honest smile. Is he from the Eastern Wilderness? Someone asked the Emperor God. No, I've never seen him before. The Emperor God shook his head. He's not from the Northern Plains either. The ones who spoke were a few burly young men. They were carrying maces and axes, and their auras were wild. Chapter 1064. He's not from the Eastern Wilderness or the Northern Plains. He's definitely not from the Western Desert. Could he be a genius from Nanming? Impossible. No one from Nanming comes here. Everyone continued to talk about it, trying to guess Lu Ming's identity. However, in the end, no one knew who Lu Ming was. The Sky Market Cave is mysterious. Not only the strongest geniuses can pass it. Some ordinary geniuses can pass it if they're lucky. Someone said. Everyone looked at him strangely. Some of them looked at Lu Ming passionately. Swoosh. Swoosh. 2 white-haired elders descended from the sky. They were the 2 elders from the World Academy. The 2 elders were surprised to see Lu Ming. They thought that no one would be able to pass the Sky Market Cave after Yang Patian. They did not expect someone to succeed. Young friend, take this token. The marrow cleansing pool will open in half a month. You can enter it with this token. One of the elders took out a token and handed it to Lu Ming. Thank you, elders. Lu Ming took the token and thanked them with cupped fists. The 2 old men smiled faintly and turned to leave. Many people looked at the token in Lu Ming's hand with passion. Among them, Wu Chengkong, Sanguinarum, and other second-grade geniuses were the most excited. Please make way. Lu Ming put away the token and revealed a simple and honest smile. He squeezed through the crowd and headed toward the all-encompassing Jade Wall. He was no longer interested in who would pass the Sky Market Cave. In the crowd, Sanguinarum looked at Lu Ming's back. Dandan, how's the research going? When he arrived at the Jade Annulus, he saw Dandan pacing back and forth, studying it carefully. I've already made some progress. Kid, don't disturb me. After a while, I'll definitely give you a big surprise. Dandan ignored Lu Ming and continued his research. This guy. Lu Ming smiled and ignored Dandan. He searched for a suitable jade disc and continued to comprehend. The all-appearances Jade Annulus was all-encompassing. Anything could be found in it. Soon, Lu Ming found an incomparably mysterious jade wall. Before this jade wall, Lu Ming could comprehend the profound principles of the concept of fire. Lu Ming carefully comprehended. With Lu Ming's current perception, he had gained a lot. In just a few days, Lu Ming's concept of fire had gained a lot. He felt that he could break through at any time and reach the 4th level of the concept of fire. Lu Ming was overjoyed and continued to comprehend. After another 3 days, Lu Ming's concept of fire really made a breakthrough, reaching level 4 lower tier. This trip to the World Academy was worth it. He had gained a lot. Young hero, my young master invites you in. At this time, a young woman walked to Lu Ming's side, smiling sweetly. Who is your young master? Lu Ming frowned slightly. You'll know when you get there. It's on that mountain not far away. The woman pointed to a mountain in the east. Okay, I'll go with you. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then followed the young woman and flew toward the mountain. The mountain was only about 100 miles away from the all appearances Jade Annulus. They arrived in a flash. There were 2 figures on the mountain. One of them was Sanguinarum, while the other was older and wore a blood-red robe. He must be an expert from Cold Blood Hall. Sanguinarum smiled when he saw Lu Ming. Haha, how should I address you, brother? I'm from the mountains. You won't know me even if I tell you. May I know what business you have with me? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Oh, it's very simple. I want to buy your token to enter the marrow cleansing pool. How many origin stones do you need? You can name a price, Sanguinarum said. So it's because of this. Lu Ming sneered. When he saw Sanguinarum, he guessed that Sanguinarum was looking for him because of his token. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. I have no intention of selling the token. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Sanguinarum's face darkened when he saw Lu Ming's refusal. You'd better think about it. The marrow cleansing pool is of no use to you. It'll only be a waste. Only in my hands can it be maximized. There was a hint of threat in his tone. He looked at Lu Ming with disdain. What he meant was that the marrow cleansing pool would be a waste in Lu Ming's hands. It's my business whether it's a waste or not. You don't have to worry about it. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Lu Ming said coldly and turned to leave. Boom. All of a sudden, a terrifying and powerful aura rose and a strong pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body. It was Master Shueluozi. At this moment, Master Shueluozi's eyes were cold as he said, Brat, even if you don't want to, you have to. That token is a complete waste on you. Only with me will it be able to bring out its full potential. It can only be used to its greatest potential when it's on you? Lu Ming looked at Sanguinarum with disdain and said, First, you were defeated by Lu Shaoqing. Then, you were defeated by the Emperor God. A loser like you is acting all high and mighty. Aren't you ashamed? In my opinion, it's a waste to give the token to you. How dare you? Sanguinarum roared and said coldly, Kid, I wanted to buy it from you with origin stones. It seems like there's no need for that now. Hand it over. Otherwise, you know the consequences. The old man next to Sanguinarum also stared coldly at Lu Ming. That elder was definitely a powerful cultivator. A terrifying powerful cultivator. He gave Lu Ming a very dangerous feeling. However, Lu Ming was not afraid. This was the World Academy. Idiot. Lu Ming looked at Sanguinarum with disdain and said, Do you think this is Cold Blood Hall? This is the World Academy. There are emperors here. I'm afraid even the emperors have seen what you've done. Do you still want to rob me? You, Sanguinarum gritted his teeth. Indeed, this was the World Academy. Lu Ming had obtained the token to enter the marrow cleansing pool through the Cave of Heaven Market. If Lu Ming had given the token to him, the World Academy might not have cared. However, if they wanted to rob him, the World Academy would not sit by and do nothing. He thought that given his status, Lu Ming, this lad who appeared out of nowhere, would definitely be scared to death. He would give him face and obediently give him the token. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming did not give him any face at all. Kid, you can't hide in the World Academy forever. You'd better leave yourself a way out. The old man said coldly. This was a blatant threat. He meant that if Lu Ming left the World Academy, no one would be able to protect him. Haha. Lu Ming sneered. He could not be bothered to say more. He simply ignored Shueluozi and the elder and turned to leave. The old man and Sanguinarum were so angry that their faces turned green. They were ignored by Lu Ming. Lu Ming walked toward the Plenitude Jade Wall. However, he was stopped by someone on the way. It was Wu Chengkong from the Sky Martial Sword Sect. Chapter 1065. What's the matter? Lu Ming asked coldly. Hand over your medallion, and give me the spot to enter the marrow cleansing pool. Wu Chengkong was very direct, and went straight to the point. Lu Ming smiled coldly. Indeed, it was because of the spot to enter the marrow cleansing pool. These people really thought that he was a pushover. Jing Kongling had the Floating Mountain sect and Yang Patian behind him, so they did not dare to offend him. The Di Shen had shown great strength and the Di Tian Divine Palace was behind him. However, they did not go looking for him. Without a doubt, Lu Ming, who had appeared out of nowhere, had become a hot steamed bun. Idiot! Lu Ming said and did not bother with Wu Chengkong. He took a step forward and moved like a beam of light, instantly arriving at the myriad jade annulus. He continued to search for the corresponding jade annulus. Wu Chengkong's eyes were as sharp as swords as he looked in the direction Lu Ming left. Lu Ming was very unhappy. If these people continued to pester him, Lu Ming did not mind using thunderous means to teach them a lesson. Lu Ming continued searching for the jade annulus. Soon, he found a jade annulus with a profound state of thunder, and carefully comprehended it. Time flowed like water. Half a month had passed since Lu Ming passed through the Heavenly Ruin Cave. At this moment, someone came to inform Lu Ming that the marrow cleansing pool had opened, and he could enter. Lu Ming followed this person, and flew over many mountains before arriving at a small hill. When he arrived, he found that Jing Kongling, the Di Shen, and Yang Patian were already there. When Jing Kongling saw Lu Ming, he smiled. The Di Shen sized up Lu Ming curiously. As for Yang Patian, he had his hands behind his back and did not even look at Lu Ming. All right, open the marrow cleansing pool. There were a few white-haired old men here. The mental energy flame on their foreheads jumped, and inscriptions appeared and entered the hill. Ka, ka. The hill cracked open, revealing an ancient bluestone path leading to the front. Go, the marrow cleansing pool is just ahead. You only have 3 days. Once the 3 days are up, come out. An elder reminded. Everyone nodded. Yang Patian took the lead and walked towards the ancient bluestone road. Then Di Shen, Jing Kongling, and Lu Ming stepped onto the ancient path one after another. Stepping on the ancient bluestone road, a land filled with dense spiritual energy appeared in front of them. On the ground, there were 9 ponds that emitted a faint mist, just like 9 celestial ponds. This was the marrow cleansing pool. Lu Ming was shocked. He hadn't expected there to be 9 marrow cleansing pools. However, the area was not large. Each of them was only a few meters in radius. The 4 of them each chose one and walked over, stepping into the marrow cleansing pool. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into the marrow cleansing pool, he immediately felt a mysterious power around him. It kept drilling into his body. It was the pool water. It was the power of the pool water. The water of the marrow cleansing pond had a mysterious and unfathomable power. Of course, it wasn't just the water. The entire marrow cleansing pond had a kind of field energy that helped the water permeate Lu Ming's body. At this moment, Lu Ming felt that his physical body was rapidly improving. Originally, Lu Ming's physical body had reached grade 9. Now it was constantly climbing towards the peak of grade 9. So comfortable. Lu Ming exclaimed. Marrow cleansing was supposed to be a very painful thing. However, there was no pain at all here. Instead, he felt comfortable all over. Lu Ming could clearly feel that the impurities and dirt in his body were being cleaned out by a mysterious power. It made his body purer and cleaner. Time flew by quickly. Just like that, 3 days passed. Splash. Lu Ming rushed to the marrow cleansing pool, his eyes shining. So cool. Lu Ming felt refreshed and his body was ethereal. Now his physical body was perfect. It was as if his body was made of divine stainless gold. It was strong and pure. Complete grade 9. Complete grade 9. Is this the limit of the physical body? Lu Ming felt carefully and his face was filled with joy. He had a feeling that his physical body was now complete and had reached a limit. It was impossible to improve it anymore. If it continued to improve, it would no longer be a mortal body. It would be another level. Jing Kongling, Di Shun, Yang Patian and the others also came out of the marrow cleansing pool with smiles on their faces. Obviously, they had also gained a lot. Yang Patian took the lead and walked out. Then the others came out of the marrow cleansing pool one after another. Outside, the elders were still waiting. When they came out, the elders inscribed inscriptions, and the hill returned to its original state. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, in the distance, 9 light pillars shot up into the sky. It was extremely shocking. Everyone looked in that direction in shock, because it was the direction of the universal jade annulus. What was going on? Is this the Saint Mansion? The Saint Mansion is open. The elders of the World Academy were excited, and their voices trembled. Saint Mansion? Lu Ming and the others were shocked. Legend had it that the universal jade annulus had a great secret. It was connected to a divine treasure and a secret land. It was very mysterious. 30,000 years ago, that divine treasure could be opened occasionally. Experts would enter to cultivate and comprehend the path. It contained great opportunities. But 30,000 years ago, there was a terrible war in the central continent. The ancient Saint dynasty rebelled. That war directly weakened the ancient Saint dynasty's Xie family, and the central continent was divided by the emperors. The World Academy was also seriously affected by that war. In the end, even the method to open the divine treasure was lost. Since then, that divine treasure and the Saint Mansion had never been opened. Could it be opened again? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without hesitation, Lu Ming and the others flew in the direction of the universal jade annulus. At this moment, Lu Ming saw streaks of light flying out of the huge white jade palace in the sky. Streaks of light flew out of all the peaks of the World Academy, and toward the universal jade annulus. Soon Lu Ming and the others arrived. At this moment, all the universal jade annulus were glowing. Inscriptions appeared and gathered into 9 huge light pillars that shot into the sky. Outside the 9 light pillars, there were countless figures standing in a dense crowd. Obviously, the elites who were comprehending in the universal jade annulus had been expelled for some reason. Whoosh. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, a little turtle jumped onto Lu Ming's shoulder. Dandan, what's going on? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Dandan. Haha Lu Ming, how is it? I've cracked the secret of this place. I've activated the formation here. Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming proudly. You did it. Lu Ming was speechless. In fact, he had guessed that it might be because of Dandan, but he didn't expect it to be Dandan. This place is connected to a mystic realm. It's amazing. Dandan exclaimed. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, more and more people appeared in the sky. Some of the elders emitted terrifying auras. Supremes, so many Supremes. Lu Ming was all too familiar with this aura. It was the aura of a Supremes. Chapter 1066. The World Academy indeed had people who practiced the path of inscription and martial arts. They were extremely powerful and unfathomable. There were also many people whose auras were weaker than supreme beings, but they were still extremely powerful. They were definitely high-level spirit gods. The Sacred Mansion is open. The Sacred Mansion that hasn't been open for 30,000 years has really opened. The dean made the right decision. Voices echoed in the sky. Whoosh! Suddenly, an old man stepped out and rushed toward one of the light pillars. However, as soon as he rushed in, he immediately revealed a look of horror and let out a scream. In the next moment, his body directly exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed. Many people gasped and felt a chill run down their spine. That old man was definitely a high-level spirit god, but he died just like that. What's going on? How could this be? Legend has it that anyone can enter the Sacred Mansion. Why did Elder Wu die? In the World Academy, there were voices of disbelief. 30,000 years ago, regardless of gender or age, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, they could enter the Sacred Mansion to find opportunities and cultivate. But why did that old man die just now? Did the rules of the Sacred Mansion change? Someone made a guess. Many people felt that it was very likely. After all, the sacred mansion had not been opened for 30,000 years. It was also very likely that the rules had changed. In this way, no one dared to act rashly. No one knew if they would die if they rushed in. After that, the World Academy sent out experts to study and find out what was going on. The news of the World Academy's sacred mansion reopening also spread like a storm. Dandan, do you know what's going on? Lu Ming appeared on a mountain peak 100 miles away with Dandan and asked. According to my speculation, the 9 light pillars are the space path, the passage to the arcane realm. However, this passage contains a time array, and there is a requirement for the age of the person who enters. However, I don't know the specific age limit, so I don't know. Dandan explained. There's a requirement for age? That's strange. Lu Ming was a little surprised because according to the rumors, there was no age limit in this arcane realm 30,000 years ago. However, it was useless to think too much about it. Next, Lu Ming cultivated while waiting for news. If he was able to enter at that time, Lu Ming didn't want to miss it. It was said that within that secret ground, there would be great opportunities. In the past, there would often be utmost powerful beings sitting in seclusion within. If those utmost powerful beings could leave behind something, that would be a great opportunity as well. That was because, according to the legends, the most powerful experts were all emperors. As the days passed, more and more people came to the World Academy. Many major forces received the news, and a large number of people rushed over. Some of the factions even sent 9 heavens supremes. For example, the forces closest to the World Academy, such as Floating Mountain, Cold Blood Hall, Sky Eagle Castle, Sky Martial Sword Sect, Demon Mountain, and G Family. There were also people from many smaller forces who had come. In fact, even more geniuses had arrived. For a moment, the World Academy was filled with powerful cultivators. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. At this time, the World Academy released news that they had investigated the rules of the entrance to the Saint Mansion Arcane Realm. Only living beings under the age of 50 could enter, and those over 50 who entered would die. Moreover, the World Academy and the 9 Heavens Supremes of the various factions had discussed that all of them could enter. However, because there were too many people coming to the World Academy, including those under the age of 50, it was obviously not feasible for so many people to enter. Therefore, the World Academy planned to screen those who had reached a certain level of fighting strength to enter. This was because it was said that the Saint Mansion Arcane Realm was also very dangerous. Those who didn't have enough fighting strength would also die. A day later, a huge formation rose up in a huge square of the World Academy. This formation was the screening place. Anyone under the age of 50 could participate in the selection of the Commander-in-Chief. Only those who passed could enter the Saint Mansion Arcane Realm. There was a sea of people gathered around the square. Countless people from various factions had gathered here. Lu Ming was also in the crowd. Some people were standing in the sky. Most of them were old, and some looked young. Everyone knew that these people were the 9 Heavens Supremes of the various factions. Puppets will form within the spell formation. Enter and kill the puppets. Every time you kill a puppet, you will be covered with quintessence chi. At first, it will be red, but as more quintessence chi gathers, the color of your quintessence chi will change. Then it will be orange, yellow, green, and finally violet. Only when the essence chi gathers on your body reaches yellow will you pass. You can enter the Saint Mansion Arcane Realm. If you don't, you will be eliminated. Start now. In the sky, an old man from the World Academy announced the rules of the screening. The rules were very simple. Enter the formation, kill the puppets, and accumulate essence chi. If one's essence chi reached a certain level, they would pass. As soon as the old man finished speaking, many people rushed into the formation. There were many young people, but most of them were men in their 30s or 40s. This time, anyone below the age of 50 could enter. Those who were 50 years old were a generation older than Lu Ming's generation. Naturally, there would be more people. This formation could accommodate tens of thousands of people at the same time. However, after a few minutes, people were transported out continuously. Their bodies were covered in a layer of red light. It was obvious that they had been eliminated. These people aren't even in the spirit embryo realm. Naturally, they can't enter. Lu Ming shook his head. He could tell the cultivation level of these people. More than 10 minutes later, more people were eliminated. Many of these people were covered in orange light, but they were still eliminated. Their cultivation was mostly below the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. After that, the people who were transported out all had yellow light on their bodies. These people were delighted because they had succeeded. As long as the light on their bodies reached yellow, it was considered a success. Looks like cultivation above the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm is more or less enough. Lu Ming thought to himself. He realized that the people who had succeeded were mostly above the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, there were also young geniuses whose cultivation was below the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. It was obvious that their battle prowess was above the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. After more than an hour, the first batch of people who entered all came out. The strongest few people were covered in purple light, which was incomparably astonishing. Lu Ming saw Junyu and Sanguinarum who were covered in purple light. However, there were more people in their 30s or 40s who were covered in purple light. These people had cultivated for a longer period of time, so their battle prowess was extremely strong. The second batch had tens of thousands of people entering. From this, it could be seen how many people were gathered at the World Academy. And this was only those below the age of 50. If there wasn't an age limit, the number of people would be even more terrifying. Lu Ming was also in the second batch. The moment he stepped into the formation, puppets that looked like demonic beasts condensed and pounced towards Lu Ming. Those below the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming punched out, and these puppets turned into ashes. At the same time, red essence flew over and covered Lu Ming's body. Following that, more puppets condensed. However, these puppets were too weak and were easily killed by Lu Ming. The light covering Lu Ming's body also slowly condensed and brightened. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.